that was like 2 posts ago. Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, that was. I mean, you know, I click live. It's gonna take a couple of minutes,
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
but you know, there's something to that type of expression.
Mm,
Like this show to me, like
yeah.
we capture it a lot. It's not me; it's the guest. I mean, it's just like we were just talking a while ago about Robert Evans. He came on here last week. Man, I'm queasy. There must be something big going to happen in this session.
Ooh.
Uh, what?
Okay.
Are you gonna pull out your White Witch doctor bag or what? What's going to
Lord, no.
happen?
But why are you queasy? That's interesting. What's going on
Well,
with
I was mopping the floor, but it shouldn't have done that. It shouldn't have done that to me. It was something else. I don't know. Anyway, I have a solution. My solution
Yes.
is Bundaberg.
Ah, my God, ginger beer. That's from here.
That's
Is it
right.
from here?
I'm the number one fan of Bundaberg.
Oh my God. I can't believe that. That's insane. Have you been to Australia? Yes.
No, I'm currently energetically. I've been working on getting out of this country for a while, and now
Yeah.
I've got to deal with the matrix. I have a impediment to getting out of the country, which
Why?
it's going to take. It's a legal issue. It's going to take.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
have to go to court or come up with a creative alternative. If I go to
Oh,
court, I'll win and I'll get out. But I mean, it'll
but
take
it'll
God
take
knows.
time and money.
Yeah. It'll take time and money. Yeah, without getting all the details, but it's just
Yeah.
part of the system. You know, I mean, it's part
Yeah.
of the. But anyway, so I can't get out legally. Not that that really matters to me because I don't
No.
really believe in 99.99% of the rules,
Yeah.
regulations, mandates, laws, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't been, not in this incarnation, but I know it very well.
Okay.
When I
Yeah.
first met her, I was like, okay, what's going
You
on
thought
here?
you were known.
Yeah, I knew places. I described places to her. I just,
Yeah.
yeah, there's something about it. I feel like I came into, I honestly, this is the straight up truth. I feel like I came into the earth plane,
Yeah.
or maybe, let me say this. Yeah, the plane, meaning the
Hmm.
surface.
Yeah.
Like I think I actually came from inside, but when I came to the surface,
Oh.
I feel like it was on the land. It's now Australia, which may have been one big continent. I don't know how
Yeah.
that went.
Well,
But
it
yeah,
did used to be.
yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah.
Mm.
You look
Insane.
great today. What's happening? What's going on with you? Well,
With
people,
me,
yeah. What's
I'm in a
happening?
place of change and transition, actually. It's been the last couple of weeks, similarly to Morgan, just went back into a whole heap of old patterning and like low self-esteem, not understanding or remembering who I was at core, and like massive, but just quickly, but enough to sort of be pushing myself down for a few days, maybe a week and a half, and just then releasing all of that and going, okay, no, it's okay. And what I came out with was that remembering that we get to create the ways. We don't have to subscribe to the way things are, and we don't have to subscribe to the labels that people give us in things and do on things. And we just get to be us and create our own way forward, and we get to release all of that other stuff. It's not relevant if we
Mm-hmm.
don't want it to be.
Yeah. Most of all, the labels we put on ourselves, right?
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
that's interesting what you're talking about too, because like I've seen like this thing going on with, I guess, what did you call it? Low self esteem, insecurity, self consciousness. So I
Yeah.
just kind of like looked at it and went, okay, so it's like uh, arrogance, confidence, right?
Mm,
And
yeah.
so like the arrogance thing, because I know, because if I had one, like when I first woke up in 2011, I was told everybody comes in with stuff to work on.
Yeah.
They showed it to me in bags, like
Yeah.
you would like what do you call it, a fanny pack? So
Yeah.
like they
Bum.
showed it to me like that,
Yep.
and so they showed me my body, and then there was a bag on it. I said, "What does that say?" And I actually knew what it said. It was
Yeah.
arrogant. It was arrogance.
Okay.
So I went. It resonated, and I was like, "Oh yeah." And then I started digging into the arrogance as I was walking the streets,
Yeah.
with nothing else to do but commune all the time. And I started to realize it was rooted in insecurity.
Yeah.
And so it started some, and I had a lot of stuff going on in my life, public speaking and
Yeah.
business success and other things. So it was a really interesting kind of thing. And then lately I've been seeing it, like, I don't know, like, is it the space between confidence and arrogance? Like, is that the
Yeah.
0 point field in that set of polarity, or are they polarities? But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's probably a good sign, like what you're experiencing and what the
Oh,
women
absolutely.
that could
But I
relate to
think,
that post. Yeah.
well, that arrogance confidence business you were just talking about, I do label myself as quite arrogant because I know when I'm right, but
Mm-hmm.
I do it and mask it so it makes it more palatable for other people by using humor and smiling when I say it. And all of a sudden it becomes acceptable. It's the most bizarre thing. But at the end of the day, it is just extreme confidence
Yeah.
and that awareness around the self that, like, I also know that when I become extremely arrogant, the universe or the gods or whatever it is going to knock me up the side of the
You
head real
better believe it. You
to
better
bring me
believe it.
back to balance. And it's so even as I'm doing it, there's a wry grin involved because it's like, well, I'm fucked now because I've opened up my
Yeah,
mouth and been a
that's
smart ass.
right.
Sorry about the language.
No, this is
Yeah.
Soulogy. You can say whatever you want to.
Oh, good. Good.
Uh,
Yeah. So
yeah,
it
that's
always
right.
comes.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
But we are very much here to learn, I think, and grow. I was just
She,
speaking to a lady who messaged me to ask if I could clear her house of some energy, and we were talking about what we believe and how our beliefs shape our consciousness and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I can't remember where that was going. Anyway, I'll let that go now.
yeah,
Turn it back to you. I've got no idea.
yeah. Morgan said that's what a was in on the
Uh,
1819. I think that's what she's saying. Is that's what maybe
that
that's
was
what.
the date. Yeah, of the
Okay.
energy.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
right?
But
Yeah.
but that actually feels right at this point of our journey because you know and again, I try not to over identify anything with one specific gender because we're all dealing with the
Yeah.
impressions of the patriarch.
Yeah.
But obviously, each gender played a different role.
Yeah.
And but if you look at, because I come from like a 15-year corporate background, very
Mm.
competitive, and so even though I wasn't like initially in my life an alpha male, I became one over time,
Yeah.
and I became very arrogant
Yeah.
for me. And even though I had was rooted in my sensitivity of my heart, I didn't see the arrogance. And then once I just, went on the streets and, kind of
Yeah.
became kind of got that big dose of humility or began
Yeah.
to, um, then I started to realize as good as you were, as powerful as you were a cocky, arrogant son of a bitch,
Yeah.
like you, who the hell are you kind of thing. And
Yeah.
but then the confidence thing is kind of a tricky thing too. And now I'm kind of like mired in the middle trying to go, okay, well, how does this work? How do you get any footing? And for
Yeah.
me, it feels very much like the experience, and everyone does this differently, uh, channeling, right?
Yeah.
Or transmitting. For me,
Yeah.
it's writing and then turning on some music maybe, and then trying to speak my words with some type of melody or
Yeah.
rhythm or phrasing uh, in sync spontaneously. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but to me, that's like the space that kind of is a sanctuary as
Allows the
I
creativity to come.
contemplate. What's that?
It doesn't allow the creativity to come, that space between
Yeah.
labels.
Well, you're not thinking. Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
thinking. You're not thinking about the self consciousness
Yeah.
of that is the insecurity, and you're not
Yeah.
cocky, and thinking, look how good I am. It's not even like that. It's like basically you're showing your ass to the whole world, and
Complete
you're
trust in the
accepting
moment.
that. Yeah, and you're just like
Yeah.
giving it your best shot. I don't know. To me, uh with like reflections like that and like meeting people like you,
Yeah.
so much of okay, like the higher states, I guess
Yeah.
as we might describe them, I always thought they're going to be like la di da, we're going to be walking on water, but they're actually this perfect meeting spot, a 50-50 soul and human, where you
Yeah.
still have the human emotions and like the the natural things. I mean,
Mm.
who wouldn't be nervous, right? Nervous is okay. It doesn't make you less holy, right? So it's like both. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
But I
weird.
was thinking that this morning, it is that thing of we sit in our 3D consciousness and awareness, and the fact that we're human beings, not ultimately, but in this incarnation, we've chosen to be here as humans. So we are restricted and limited, but at the same time, our souls know that we're only restricted and limited by the restrictions and limitations that we put on ourselves.
Yeah.
That none of it really exists. None of it is true unless we make it true and we give it that reality. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I get that. It's like an integration of the two aspects
Yeah.
for me, like the human and the soul, or it could be any part of the
Yeah.
multidimensionality. Our friend Hung Nguyen, the dragon lady, she has a pretty good comment. She's, I like the term
Yes.
wholesome confidence, humility that you will be a forever student, but you
Yeah.
have enough experience to know that what you have as a tool is effective.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and she's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Even though she's a pain in the ass, but yeah, she's good. No, I'm
Are we
kidding.
not all that though?
I know you have to be right.
You do. You do. And we all are to someone. So you
Yeah,
may as well do it better to more people.
yeah, you can never be anything in between. You always got to be one of the. No, but it's so refreshing to, it's not been easy. I don't think on anyone like 2022
No.
because the previous 2 years, we
Yeah.
all know the stuff going down, and this and that, and this and that, and this and that. But like for those like that I get to talk to, like you,
Mm.
it's so refreshing to just do this, right? Like
Yeah.
it's not about the bells and the whistles and the woo woo and and this and that. And not that those aren't, part of it.
It's a
But
place.
it's
Yeah.
just like, what's going on with you? Oh, well, I've been deep diving lately and getting my ass handed to me on a platter,
Yeah.
you know. And that's really cool to hear from people that are highly sensitive like you. Like,
Yeah.
the real stuff, right? I mean, to me there's tremendous amount of code in there.
Yeah. Well, it's always been I think we're always being pushed um to understand whether we are where we need to be. So we're given opportunities to have old patterns and old stories challenged, and then the way that we live our life. So for me at the moment, when I left teaching in 2018, I vowed I was never going back.
Mm.
Um, and as soon as I say the word never, I know that that means I'll be doing whatever I've said never to, because not allowed to be that arrogant to make those finite calls.
Yes.
And so I've ended up back in teaching, and I vowed I was only ever going to do 3 days a week. But I'm now at a point where I'm going, well, hang on a minute. My sole purpose is to do the work for the Blue Butterfly Institute. We're a not-for-profit, so we have no money coming in. So I need to have a stable income so that I can afford to live and do that stuff.
Mm.
And I run my business as well, like my healing business, as well as teach. And I volunteer for other organizations. And it's like, well, something's got to give, because there's not enough, even though time is a construct, there's not enough time in a day to do all of that and do what you want to. So when we focus on soul purpose, which is the institute work, then for me, that means, well, Tina, you're going to need to suck it up and go back to teaching a little bit more, because it provides the financial backing that you need to be able to do the work that you're here to do. So suck it up, princess, and move forward. So that's the place that I've come out of, is sitting in that place of transition of, well, how does this work? I like that. 2022 has sure been a big decade already.
No, that's a great reflection.
Mm,
It reminds me of a video I saw the other day about a guy that I knew about, but I
yeah,
didn't know about. I don't
yeah,
really follow professional sports. I haven't for years, but
yeah,
there's a guy named Curtis Martin, and he is kind of a nondescript, not someone that stands out. I knew that much about him, and he was
yeah,
in the NFL for a long time. And I came across this video, and he was speaking
yeah,
like at an event, and he started telling his story, and I'll just run through it really quick. And so basically, he grew up in the projects,
yeah,
single mother, 4 years old. His dad's breaking the door down. Open this door. I have a gun. I'm going to kill you. Put his mom in the hospital, and just da 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 da
yeah,
da da. Right. Mother wouldn't give up. Mother told the son, I mean, the kid was a latchkey kid at 6 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
She was afraid that the state would come take the child if anyone found out he was home all day, because she worked 3
Yeah.
jobs, right? So
Yeah.
there's this incredible story, and he gets to be about, I think, 15, 16. He gets into high school.
Yeah.
And his mom says, "Look, I'm going to give you a choice. You can go play one sport, but it's got to be you're going to have to do something, because if you don't, you're going to be dealing drugs. You're going to be in a gang, and I'm not putting up with that shit. So you can either
Yeah.
leave, or you can go in." And so, long story short, he goes out for football. He's really good. He ends up making it to the NFL. But before he got drafted, and he was going to be like one of the top 3 picks, he told his mom, "I don't want to go. I don't want to go." Told his pastor, "I don't want to go." And it was the same thing. The pastor said,
Yeah.
"You want to help people in your life, right?" Because that's something he'd already figured out. I want to help people and so on, which he does now. And his pastor said, "How do you know that this opportunity
Yeah.
to work and get a steady paycheck isn't God's gift to you to facilitate what you want to do?" And it's exactly, now he's retired, and it's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. We
Sometimes,
sometimes have to suck it up.
yeah. Sometimes you got
And
to go. Yeah.
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 And it's important, because I think when we're aligned with our soul purpose, things just seem to flow. Like, since I came out of that space, my life has just shot off in different ways again. And I keep getting the affirmations from the gods, universe, / whatever, that I'm on the right path. And I feel more grounded in myself again.
Yeah.
Whereas I was a bit flighty for a couple of weeks there, feeling a bit out of control, a bit like still presenting all right to the outside world, but behind closed doors and in my posts on Facebook, just feral energy. But needed to be there to push out from there, and like kicking off the wall to be able to swim extra strokes.
Yeah. Yeah. You must be you must be a bit distinctively different than the other teachers there, I would imagine.
Tiny
How did
bit,
Tiny? Just a little bit.
tiny bit, just a little bit.
How does that? I bet the kids just go crazy over you.
They don't know what to make of me. Interestingly, like, so I love them. I've got this year 10 class that is absolutely divine, because we're all still wearing masks in the classroom at the moment, and when faces are just for another week, actually, we're allowed to
Wow.
take them off next Monday. But so the kids, you only see this much of them, and we don't realize how much our face and our appearance needs to be wholly seen to be able to understand or identify based on appearance. And so
Wow.
last week, like, they're beautiful. They all have twinkles in their eyes when I speak, because I'm a bit, out there and weird.
Yeah.
Fall over air in the classroom, and warn them that could happen, so that they're mindful of it, and that they only need to act if I cry, because if I cry, it means I've hurt myself. But usually I'll just laugh if I fall or slip off the chair or whatever it is I do. I don't know. I'm not grounded when I'm teaching. And I asked them to just, after I'd marked the roll, I said, can we just, only if you're comfortable, I'm going to go through again, and can you just move your mask down so I get to see your whole face for a second? Like, literally just a second. And so most of them did it, and it was just amazing, because all of them that did had these big, massive grins on their faces that I have never seen before.
Wow.
And it was just a beautiful moment of shared humanity, maybe reminding us that we are all human, and that these constructs that we're coerced into following are just that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's powerful, especially based on what we were just talking about. But just like looking from a self-consciousness, self-esteem,
Yeah.
kind of context, that I didn't think about that. A room full
Mm.
of kids with masks over their face, because schools a challenge. I mean, schools where your formative years of
Yeah.
I'm not saying you never change, but I mean, like, your insecurities, your
Mm.
self-consciousness, I mean, your confidence,
Yeah.
whatever, your arrogance, if you're deeply insecure,
Yeah.
bully type of thing. I mean, that's where that shit's going down. So I can't, I
Yeah.
didn't even think about like having a whole classroom of kids with masks on their face. So
Yeah.
that's, now, have you had now how old are these kids? How old are they?
My year 10 class, they're 15, 16.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You got like the future.
Yeah.
So are you picking up, like, do you ever like just go to work and during work or after work, like just got to lay down. I mean, like that was a fucking huge download, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you ever get like lit by the kids? You know,
Oh, God, yes.
yeah,
And stuff coming through all of the time. Like I've had moments in classrooms before where I had spirit communicating with me during lessons, just
really.
playing. And other kids, like sometimes another child would pick it up and they'd go, I'd look up and go, did anyone else hear that? And one child would say, I did. So I knew I wasn't going nuts. And everyone else was looking at us going, what? And but they then expressed what, like we said, half, so that we knew we weren't lying and stuff. And
Mm,
it's just amazing. It's just a blessing
wow,
to be able to be with kids who are so open to difference, whilst also not being open to difference.
wow.
So hitting that point of intersection
Do
and like allowing them to just be, to hold that space, whatever it looks like for themselves. But I do that with adults as well, and I do that for myself.
What an opportunity though for you that you've
Yeah,
set up, that you've
yeah,
set up to expose yourself to the code. You know, I mean, I can't even imagine like a room full of 15 and 16-year-olds in a major metropolitan area uh, that's had a strong program of the COVID related things,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
In
A lot of
in
fear.
a lot of fear. That's what I was going to ask you because I know because I don't have a lot of access to that. We've had a few young kids come on. I would imagine that they're a bit unique, you know, at least in terms of what's being put out there in the mainstream. They seem to have this. First of all, they seem to have this single voice that they communicate with, where we might have different essences and so on. I'm not saying that that's concrete. They seem to have this thing like, that doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, like, what's it like there in the trenches with a room full of 15 and 16-year-olds? You mentioned fear, but I mean, are you picking up anything else?
Oh, it's inspiring. Do you know, I have a firm belief that kids, at the end of the day, regardless of what's going on around them, they just want to be loved, seen, and heard. And if you do that, if you offer them that and offer them that space, they will do whatever they can to become better in
I,
themselves, to become open, whole.
I just need to make this note because when you said that, it turned to 22 minutes and 22 seconds. I kid you not, on 22:22,
Oh,
2:20,
I've got
whatever.
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's very relevant. My thought, as you were saying, is like, who does that sound like? Sounds like all of us, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Right? I mean, who would turn that
that
down?
is all of us.
Yeah.
And to be able to offer that space for kids. So not so much at this school because I'm only new there, but at my old school, I still receive messages from kids I taught like 20 years ago that say, thank you so much for seeing me. And
Well,
I don't even necessarily remember the student, but they said, you saw me and you did this. And that made me feel like it was going to be okay. And it's just that's a gift we give just by being ourselves and being open and smiling at people. And
mm,
we're all capable of doing that, and it changes the world.
well, you made an impression on Kristen Sindel. Thank you for your comments. She says, note to spirit self in next life arranged to be a student in Tina's class.
Oh,
And then
Kristen's one of
then she
my best
said,
friends.
I don't know what platform she's on. She's on one of the Facebook platforms.
She'll be on
She
Facebook.
said
Yeah.
there's 22 people watching as you said that.
Oh,
Yeah, so you can't make this shift up,
no,
man.
you can't. But Kristen should be working. I think it's also important to note that she's at work at the moment and should be working. She said she was going to watch
Oh,
this after
oh,
work,
okay,
which is
okay,
not for about 7 hours.
okay. Right on,
I
right
love her.
on.
She's beautiful. She's a divine
Yeah,
soul.
yeah. We should get her on here. You should come on and have a sisters
We
transmission.
should.
Absolutely.
We
Well,
absolutely should.
but
That's not a bad idea.
I
Crystal
mean,
would
like
hate
these. I mean, like, kids are much more present. There's 55. Here we go. There's
that.
55 on. There's 55 on all the platforms.
Yeah.
Um,
So you've still got
uh,
the double numbers.
I know that's what I'm saying. It's like the ascending master numbers just
Yeah.
getting. So yeah, but like kids. When we were kids, I mean,
Yeah.
we had things that we were because we were going through, what you go through,
Mm.
puberty and the bullying and just the different stuff, right? But I think for the most part, kids are more present,
Yeah.
right? They just tend to be more present. They tend to be more into what's going on today. What am I doing right now?
Yes.
And I just wonder, like, because I've heard stories. Morgan's son is going to be 20, I think, and so like this all was kind of happening as he was coming out of that age, right, going into young adulthood. And like she would tell me, well, they've been locked down for like 9 months. You can't go anywhere. This was back in 2020, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't go anywhere unless it's an essential, and all those dumb rules they had. But like, do these kids actually talk about what's going on? Do they question it? Do they come to you, or do they talk among themselves, or do they just
I don't
stay
know.
present? Yeah.
I don't know. I make jokes because I hate the masks in the classroom. I can't breathe. I hate them. I hate not being able to see the kids. I hate you don't realize how much of our communication is non-verbal until you're covered and you can't beyond a twinkle in the eye or a look of absence in the eye, which is all you get. So teaching is not just hearing the kids, it's watching their energy and it's watching their faces to see what they understand, what they don't, if you need to push a bit harder, if you need to pull back. And so when you've got masks on your faces, they can't also see that I am often smiling. And I think that's really, I think we've done our kids a disservice.
Yeah.
Traumatize them and we keep re-traumatizing them unnecessarily, in my opinion.
It's kind of like sterile, and like then just like if you think about it from a body language standpoint, it is all it's not all, but I mean a big part of it is the eyes and the face, the eyes and the expressions, right? It's that's a big part of it. So it's like when you go in to the doctor, and they all got the mask on. It's kind of a sterile environment.
Yeah. People become anonymous.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no differentiation. Having said that, I'm at a school where kids subvert those rules when they can. So the minute they get to take those masks off, most of them will. And so they know that they've got to follow certain patterns of behavior to minimize getting into trouble. I think, do you know what keeps coming to me at the moment is when we were growing up, so when our generation was growing up, there was a lot of like, if you did the wrong thing at home, you copped a hiding. It was pretty much the way it worked. There was a lot of abuse, physical and emotional, psychological, sexual, and things weren't necessarily talked about. This is in the 70s and 80s in Australia. So I can't comment what it's like elsewhere, but I assume that most Western nations would have been similar. And so now we allow kids to talk about those things and we share them and there's dialogue in society and those things are now more out in the open.
True.
It's like this has become another way of traumatizing our children and keeping them small. You have to follow the system's rules.
Yeah.
And now it's just out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just come off the top of my head.
No, it makes sense to me.
Right.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. And so I wonder what's going to happen in 10, 15, 20 years if we don't rebalance now for the kids.
No, I think we're on our way. That's just my opinion. I think we're on our way. I think we're moving very fast, but
yeah, true.
I guess it remains to be seen. Have you had any, like, I saw this thing Morgan sent to me today, this video in Sydney of the sun had like this arch around it with all the lightning. Was that shit real? I mean,
it was at Umina Beach up on the north coast here. I think it's North Coast. Yeah.
And the thing appeared like that?
A friend of mine shared it the other day, and then I saw it on Morgan's as well this morning. It's just divine. It's beautiful. Wow. Amazing. Just weird.
Yeah. Have you had anything going on? I know because you're very sensitive and you get around. I mean, have you had anything is anything picking up for you, like sensitivity wise and like just ability wise or experience wise?
No different to normal. We had an interesting storm here. Was it Sunday night, Monday morning at about 1:14, 1:15, I woke up because there was lightning and thunder, but there was no rain. Like no rain, which is really, it was weird. Usually you'll get lightning and thunder and rain. So we had the lightning and thunder. It was like this massive storm that went on for about 20 minutes, but there was no rain at all, no water dropping. It was weird.
There has been some really weird weather in lots of places. I know here it's been that way. yesterday, because it's
Yeah.
winter. It's winter here. Now we're not in the coldest part of the U.S., but we get snow. We've had snow
Yeah.
twice this year, and so yesterday was a typical day. So like I think 32 degrees, which is below freezing,
Yeah.
is about 0 degrees for you, right?
Yeah.
So we would be like last night, this morning, or last night, we would be like -3 or something.
Yeah. Okay.
I just was talking to Morgan on the phone. I get in between shows. I take my shirt off. I'm in shorts. I work in shorts and UGG boots,
Yeah.
and so I I walk outside to go get the trash can.
Yeah.
First, I open the door to see if I can walk outside. Because I just got to run out there and run back. Because if it's too cold, I'm not going to do it. Right?
Yeah.
It was like summer. It's like summer. I walk out there in a pair of shorts and no shirt, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. And then
Yeah.
tomorrow it'll be below freezing,
Yeah.
so, but I've seen that a lot around the world.
Here too. We're coming out of summer and we've had so much rain and cooler weather, it has not felt like summer at all. But then you get your odd day or your odd pocket of days that are like really, really warm. But I
Mm-hmm.
think this is the first summer we haven't hit like usually in the past couple of years we've had summers of 41, 42 degrees up to 45 degrees, just the odd day, which I think is over 100.
Yeah, that's over
Yeah.
100. That's
Yeah.
you're talking like 105,
Right,
110.
extreme
Yeah,
heat, and we
yeah,
haven't had a day like that this summer.
yeah.
But we like come out of drought, and 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were in drought. Like it
I,
hadn't
I
rained in
remember. I
so
remember.
long,
That's when you had all the fires, right?
and that's when we had the fires at the end of that, and then the rain came. So then we had flooding,
Yeah.
and then we had COVID.
So right,
We've got to
whatever that
start
is.
listening to the lessons.
uh, yeah, whatever. I mean, like, I don't know. It feels like 40 degrees is 104.
Oh, there we go.
That's
Yeah.
that's pretty freaking hot.
So Kristen's from Pittsburgh,
You know,
but she lives out
Pittsburgh.
here. Yeah,
Oh,
but she
she's in
lives.
Pittsburgh. I thought she lived down there with you.
No, she lives in Australia, but she's from Pittsburgh originally. That's where
Oh, I
she
got
grew
you.
up. That's where her mum is.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've had some. You were talking about Morgan's post at the top of the show. I noticed in the comments too.
Yeah.
A lot of women really acknowledging pretty much the same thing. The sister that we had on before, Maya, who by the
Yeah,
way
I
is
saw
the
parts of
same.
that this morning.
Yeah, you're what's the what did we say? Morgan looked it up. It was a bearer of light. You're a bearer of
Yes.
light.
And I liked when Meyer said that water as well. In Hebrew, it's water.
Yeah.
So I had to go to the water on the weekend. It's how I ground predominantly. I use the bush and water, but sometimes it needs to be the flow of water and the vastness of the ocean.
Yeah, I can just picture you out in the bush, like like that.
I was there yesterday.
Yeah, with like 5 or 6 other sisters, like doing like ritual around like a Stonehenge thing.
Not
You
actually. I
got
do
that
that
energy.
at home. I run full moon healing circles every month, and we congregate usually in my lounge room because the weather hasn't allowed us to go outside. It's either been raining or too hot, so I hold circle every month, and it's women congregating and just being and sitting in space and sharing their stories.
So you're in the. I mean, are you in Sydney or like outside of?
I'm outside of Sydney.
Outside Sydney.
So I'm about an hour and 20 minutes from Sydney.
Okay. So you're not like in. Okay. So you're. It's probably less populated, I guess. Where
It's
you're
semi-rural. Yeah.
Semi-rural. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, how do you find? Because so many people that come on the show and so many people that are in these communities, you see it in their posts like, I wish I had friends like my friends on Facebook.
Oh, I've got friends.
Yeah, but like, how did you find those people? Have you been, have you been engaged in these relationships for a long time, or was it just kind of like, no, wow, how did that happen?
I moved here in 2015 into this area, and a lot of women who I first encountered here who are similar to me, we've got a strong which community, and by which I mean that in the broadest possible terms. So
Yeah,
people that
absolutely. No, we get that here. That's
yeah,
no
yeah.
problem. Yeah.
We've got a massive community here, and everybody just sort of congregated. It's like we felt called, and so the air, like there's Thirlmere Lakes about 7 minutes down the road from me in Bush in National Park, and they dried out. When I moved here, there was no water in them because of, I think because of fracking and coal work they were doing out here. But since 2015, since all of these women have moved and started developing these stronger relationships and spiritual events and stuff like that, the lakes have filled up.
Go figure.
So there's a lot of healing. I was there yesterday and it doesn't feel as dense, the energy down there, as it used to. There were a lot of, it used to be an Aboriginal, so Indigenous Australian courtship area.
Wow.
And they would come from the different parts of the mountains and congregate and court. But I think there was also a lot of pain here too.
Is it near Wollongong? I just had to say the word.
So I'm 40 minutes drive from Wollongong. You just want to
Wollongong.
say that. So that's where I was on Sunday. I went down to the beach at Wollongong.
God. Well, there's got to be like a major effect on the grid, or let's say the new grid, with the positioning of those like you. You know what I mean? Like all over the world.
I think so.
And I've been saying this since Morgan went to Australia in April. That's and not just because of what I felt like what our role might be or the positions we're holding, on behalf of the collective or whatever, but also what was happening down there.
Yeah.
It just felt like that's like ground zero.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
we had similar feelings at that time, like a huge uprising of feminine energy in Australia a couple of years ago, and a lot of healing, especially through the bushfires. And I've got goosebumps running all through my body. But that whole shift in consciousness that then the powers that be have tried to stifle down again. And so it culminated in our Australian of the Year last year being Grace Tame, who I've spoken about before, who advocates for sexual trauma survivors.
Oh, yeah. That.
But then had to fight the system the whole year.
You were the one. Oh, wait. You were telling me about it, but then somebody else told me something about it.
There we go.
Actually, I think Morgan had an experience at the place she was staying before. There was a lot of older people there, and it was a long story, but yeah, like I heard about that lady 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say her balls are bigger than most men's, if not all of them.
Absolutely. But she's open and honest and authentic. So she talks about the fact that what the impact of all of this media scrutiny and all the rest of it, the impact on her. And she talks about the fact that every time someone sensationalizes a story, they're re-traumatizing a victim of sexual assault from a pedophile at her school.
Yeah.
She's holding people accountable, which we need more of in our society.
Well, and you know how it is. I mean, I don't know about your families, but I mean, most families, you could have, a very strong patriarchal figure, but if mama's not right, things ain't going to be right. I mean, I know there's exceptions to that in extreme certain situations, but that energy, that mama bear energy, that feminine energy, that patience, time's up, and it's popping, right? I mean, it's popping everywhere. So
it is, and it has to. We all need to come back into balance.
Yeah.
Beyond gender, just within ourselves, we need to balance our masculine and feminine energies. When I was teaching before I resigned, I had moved similarly to you were talking about your corporate energy. I had become very masculine energy based because I worked in tough schools and I had to be strong to stand up against the violence that the kids were coming to school with. And so I learned how to hold that masculine space and energy so that I wasn't messed with.
Wow.
And I was able to do my job. Like, kids learned and they felt supported in that environment because they felt safe. But I was very much in my masculine. When
Right.
I took 2017 off, part of my intention there was to move more into my feminine and to come back to balance, which I have predominantly done. So going back into teaching now is interesting because you still need to be in your masculine energy, but you also need to balance it with the feminine. And so sitting in that place of balance is interesting. It's not what I'm used to in a school for me.
Uh, is the infrastructure, like personnel and practices? I know it's not a long period of time, but
Mm.
for the last 10 years, if we take that into account, a month is a year. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
whole different ballgame. But like the personnel practices and such, have you seen a change in that? Or do you see any
In
evidence of?
education,
Yeah, I mean, of
I
like
see it
just.
becoming more masculine.
Oh, really?
There's in the systems themselves, it's like, you know how we're moving into the Aquarian age, and so that whole balance and the rest of it. And so what I see in our structures here in Australia, and it's my perception, is this trying to hold on to the old ways and really pushing the old ways because the unknown is terrifying. And so I see that in all spheres of leadership.
So that's actually makes sense because I was going to say, well, maybe when I ask her this, she's going to say that the feminine influence is being felt. But
Mm-mm.
I guess in a way it is
It
because
is.
what you are seeing, and I could speak like, look at Canada, look at Australia, look at even the US,
Yeah.
and everywhere. I mean, you see it everywhere where they're actually, instead of conceding or becoming
Mm.
diplomatic or
Yeah.
trying to find some common ground, they're turning it on harder, right?
Yes.
They're turning up the heat,
Yeah.
and that probably is because that feminine energy is rising and it's not working. So
Yeah.
they're thinking, well, all we can do is turn it up because if we turn it down, game over. Which game
Yeah.
is over? Game is already over.
It is over. It is already done, and we're just feeling the shock waves as we recalibrate, I think,
Hmm.
as we
Did,
have to.
so you openly admit, okay, in that time period I was at least at work more in my masculine, okay, and
Absolutely.
then I left, and then I went to work on bringing balance, so I had to lose the distorted masculine, bring up the
Yeah.
feminine, the true feminine. Have you noticed any difference uh, that you could attribute to this balancing more influence of the feminine side of you in your creativity or any other aspect of your experience, your life?
In my relationships,
Mm,
absolutely.
yeah.
Especially in my relationships with males, they're a lot softer. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, like significantly softer. I am softer and I'm more trusting.
Mm,
Whereas in the past I have not been. So I am able to give more of myself authentically and almost in a traditional gender role, but not like still very much myself. So yeah,
yeah.
that's been interesting. In my creativity, not so much.
Mm, yeah.
It's in the way, like, so I run the not-for-profit Blue Butterfly Institute, and in the way we all lead together, it's very balanced in our energies. We've got the right proportion of action and nurturing.
Yeah.
And so I think I probably see it most there and in my personal relationships.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the blue butterfly that, because I think, uh, well, I'm getting blown up here, but I think
Yeah.
that collaboration,
Mm.
aligned collaboration, or let's just say
Yeah.
agendaless or less egoic, less conditioned, less shadowed
Mm.
collaboration is a reflection of creativity,
Yeah.
of let's just say like a new characteristic of old of creativity
Yeah.
that's taken hold. I think the creativity that's coming out, part of it is rooted in collaboration. It's like,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so
we're coming
that
together. There's
yeah,
not one more significant than another. We all work
yeah,
together to achieve that aligned vision.
yeah. That's right.
And it's beautiful. Like, I've lost a lot of friends out of my life in the last couple of years. And one of the things that sent me under the last week that really brought the insecurity in those old narratives out was a friend who had said that I just haven't been present for her, and she felt very that our friendship was very unbalanced. And it made me take stock of who I was and where I sat and how important that person was to me and why. And then moving away from that to realize that maybe there were toxic elements for both of us and we're just not meant to be that way anymore. But I've lost so many friends out of my life as I have moved more into my authentic self
Yeah,
and doing things that are more authentically aligned.
yeah. I think that's a very good kind of a synopsis, because I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Mm.
And I don't know that, sometimes we use stronger language. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about like
Mm.
some of the stuff that we see out there. I've certainly done it. I know I've seen people do it. I think maybe it's part of the process, and that is where you kind of go overboard.
Yeah,
Like, I'm putting
absolutely.
up these boundaries out
Yeah,
here, and F off, and I
yeah,
can unconditionally love you, but F off. But
yeah.
but I don't think we're not really losing them. It's like
No,
we're we're losing the routine we had with them, maybe the
yeah,
frequency of communication, but it's just like water and oil. It's not about I don't
yes.
like you. It's just about
We no
just
longer serve.
yeah, we're just
Our path at the moment has come to an end together
yeah,
in a physical
yeah,
realm,
yeah,
and obviously as the souls know.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
we're losing the parts that are dying, or the parts that weren't real. Both. And like, I love what you said too, because a lot of times when you hear that type of you know um, explanation, it's kind of one sided. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's like they did this or they're that, and I'm shutting the door or whatever. But it's
Yeah.
not. Doesn't really talk about, other than, oh, I'm free because I'm smart now and I figured it out. But
No.
it's actually there's again, nobody gets out alive, right? So
Yeah.
it we're going to have to find oneness
Yeah.
eventually. Hopefully, it'll be in this incarnation with
Yes.
every soul on the face of the earth.
Yeah.
But and sometimes it's important and healthy to table a relationship or table
Yeah.
something and then come back to it. But
Yes.
yeah, I like the
Which
way
is
that you
so
said
important
that.
that we co-create relationships. There's not one person more than the other in it. So if something isn't working for us any longer in a relationship, we have co-created that circumstance. We then, if we want a solution to it, that also needs to be co-creation, doesn't
Yeah.
it really?
Yes, I agree.
And that's where we find our oneness. I like the fact that you've called me on my language there because it was very negative and it didn't need to
No,
be.
it's not. What's it
No, no,
negative?
no. I haven't lost it. Quite correct. No. I need to own that because I keep using that language, and that language again is another label that's restrictive because it
Mm,
shuts a door,
yeah.
doesn't it? It shuts a door to being open to co-creating more.
Well, I just think, and I think we okay. So because it's never the same. It's never like you just drive and it's all just smooth like that,
You know,
right? It's like sometimes we're too hard on ourselves.
yeah,
That's
always.
been a big deal. So then
Mm,
we start to make some progress, and we move too far the other way, right?
yes.
And it can become a cockiness or an
Yeah.
arrogance. I'm talking energetically.
And an unkindness sometimes because we're trying to reach that equilibrium of balance. So
Yeah,
we play with the outer realms.
yeah. But I think there's significant evidence in terms of just the energy that people are putting out, their posts, and just different things you notice where, like, even like what you just said a while ago,
Mm.
where you actually put yourself in the same boat as the person you were talking about. Hey,
Yeah.
it's not just you, it's
No.
me too. And this is just where we're at, right? It's like
Yeah.
both recipes are changing. And, but I think there's a lot of evidence where that collaboration's working, where
Yes.
people are starting to, I guess, for, uh, I can't think of a better way to say it, but like bury the hatchet,
Yeah.
or stop pointing the finger and just say, hey, let's have a cup of tea, and let's
Yeah.
let's let's because that's another thing too, is like in the old paradigm, the codependent paradigm, push button
Mm.
solutions. Well, let's have a talk, put it on the table, everything's done. Well, it's really
Yeah.
not done because we haven't talked about what's
Yeah.
beneath it, right? And I think now we're starting to go, okay, a little progress is good.
Yeah.
You know, a small step forward is better than what was there. So we're not like,
Absolutely.
anchored or held down, or handicapped by
Yeah.
these previous illusionary patterns and expectations that we could fix this instantly.
Yeah.
Nothing. The whole instantly thing. Uh,
Yeah.
I think kind of goes out the window with getting anything done in this new energy because for me it does because I don't get as
Agree.
anxious and nervous and upset and like itchy anymore. I just go, hey, I've got eternity. I don't need to like kill myself, right?
Well, it's true. And so she taught me, this particular friend, exactly that, because my initial response was to burst into tears and go, I don't understand this. I don't know where this has come from.
Mm,
And it was in response to me asking if we were okay, because I'd felt very much that we were not. And so I cried, and then I thought, I don't know how to respond to this. I don't know what to do. And rather than what I tried to do was sit in space that was more, I guess, I don't know the words. I gave my power away
yeah.
to her at that moment in time
Yes.
because I shut the door on it and assumed that's what she wanted. And when I expressed that, she called me on that
Mm,
and said, no, this wasn't meaning over. I was expressing where I was at.
right.
I didn't expect that would be a closed door. And so from there, we could go more into honest space and emotion
Yeah.
and go to what was underneath. And we're sitting and taking a breather at the moment to see what comes and what doesn't.
Yeah.
But it was a powerful learning experience in terms of giving my power away and playing the old game of, okay, so you've said that you were upset with me in these instances, therefore I'm a bad person, therefore I'm now going to have to disconnect because I'm a bad person and need to be punished. I think that's what it brought up for me.
Yeah. I think that's part of the remnants of the
Mm,
old template. I mean,
absolutely.
codependent doesn't mean I'm going to do this for you and you do it for me in
Mm,
the sense that we would think. It's
yeah,
also I'm going to do this and you're going to think that. It's still
yeah,
the energetic thing's the same, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, and here's the other thing, you know, the overall energy
yeah,
is is a factor. I mean, sometimes it's not even like it's just. I told Morgan last night. I was like, I'm going to pay more and more attention to making sure I get the proper
yeah,
amount of sleep because
yeah,
because we're all becoming more sensitive and more aware
yeah,
of ourselves and the rhythms and what to eat, what not to eat. I mean, our souls are talking to us,
yeah,
and but
all
I
the time.
noticed there's a lot of taxation, taxing,
Mm,
energetics. It's physically exhausting at times,
yeah,
and
all the
it can come like that too.
mm,
Right, I've noticed that it can just come and boom, right, you're out, and a lot of people can relate to this. You end up on your back all day.
yes. And questioning why, and then self-deprecating because you feel like you're useless and you're questioning we're meant to be an active society where we're always doing, we're always achieving, we're always on. And this energy makes us stop and take stock and go, well, hang on a minute. No, I'm tired. I need to honor that. I need
Yeah,
to rest. I
yeah,
need to let the energies do what they need to do in the programming to
yeah.
shift. And I think we don't understand how exhausting our brains being reprogrammed can
That's
be.
right. That's right. And if you just take like well, we had like what last week? I mean, it seemed like every day, there was these
Yeah,
things going up saying solar flares coming from,
yeah.
and people were like just, and but like if you
And
just take
the
that
moon
one
image
instant,
as well.
you just take that one instant, you're going about your business, and all of a sudden it's 2 o'clock, you get hit with
Mm,
some energy, you start getting drowsy, and you're like, oh my
yeah,
God. And you lay down, and then 2 hours go by, and you're going, and so then you start going, man, what's wrong with me?
yeah,
And the ego comes in, it's like, oh, you're worthless, you're not doing
yeah,
anything, and and so that's like exhausting.
Yeah.
right? I mean, that can be like, so I think we're actually going through these things and it gets a little better and we get a
Yeah.
little more understanding and it gets a little better. And one of the big things I had a hard time accepting when I ran into Morgan was she would tell, we would do work or whatever, or something would happen. She'd be like, okay, we just got a big download, or you just got a big download, Todd, and, or activation, whatever. It's going to take like 2 to 5 days for this to settle in. And I remember her telling me this like
Yeah.
yesterday, and this is like 3 or 4 months after I met her. And it'd be like, she'd say, you probably don't want to drink anything. You probably want to kind of stay to yourself. And I'm like, no, I got this. I'm good. And then sure
Yeah.
enough, the grim reaper of
Yeah. You crashed.
equilibrium would come in and say, no, we got to have equal energy exchange here.
Yeah.
Boot
But I
you.
think our society needs to, here we go. Our society needs to. Tina's on her arrogance horse again. But I think there needs to be a broader understanding and acceptance that we are shifting consciousness and we are shifting energies. And so a lot of the work, sorry, my dogs are about to go off their brain. They've been
It's all right.
done to
It's all good.
and so that people feel like more able to express the truth of that.
Yeah.
And say, look, I'm really exhausted. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to go and have a nap. But our systems don't allow for that either.
Right.
So I think we're really in that tipping point, but not really a tipping point because we're all going to be okay, of really owning, I guess, that sense of our own selves and what it means for us.
Yeah.
And if we can own it, then we give permission to other people to own their own stuff and their own ways. And so then collectively, it's that domino effect of everything then shifting, and that acceptance of it's all right to say I'm tired, so I can't stay at work today.
Yeah.
Becomes okay.
It's all right to say no or whatever. Yeah. But I think you're right, because it's like, it doesn't matter if it's, what am I feeling, or something I want to say to someone that I can't. I mean, I think what it is we're getting comfortable with who we are, what we are, what we're a part of, and it's just coming in, in spoonfuls, right?
Yes.
Like, because everything's parallel.
Yeah.
And if somebody were to shove a funnel down our throat and choke us with it all, energetically, that would be a huge impact on our body, right? Like that's, and I don't know about everybody else, but I pretty much got a routine. It's a tall glass of coconut water in the morning, and then I start. I'm very sensitive to my hydration level, and even then, sometimes, like last week, just 2-3 days ago, it's all getting red in here, like like a rash or eczema or whatever. But I know it's from the energies, right? And the detoxing, I guess.
Yeah. And that we're always in that constant state. But as much as we might be resting, we're never stagnant in that rest either.
Yeah.
Like, so many of us are doing work in other realms, and we've become more conscious and aware of that, so that even in our sleep state, our physical body might be sleeping, but our soul body is off doing other things in other places.
Yeah.
And I think that's also exhausting.
Yes, that's true, right? That's true. That's very true, because I can always tell, because I get a little bit of memory of it, and then but I'm always sore in my shoulders. Like really sore, like somebody, like I've been in a fight or been lifting weights or something, down to my back, to my deltoid muscles. I don't know if that's because we're flying. I don't know why.
You've been busy. Just been busy working.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of us do work on the grid and the matrix, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
And as well as just living and being conscious of the fact that this soul is living multiple lives all at the one time, from different time periods, doing different things. And I think as we've moved into a greater consciousness and awareness of that we're not just stagnant 3D souls or figures or whatever the right word is, or bodies. I think that also lends itself to us becoming more conscious of the needs our body has in this incarnation to cope with all of that.
Yeah. That's why I said it's like a double So because if you have the let's say the dream state
Yeah.
time when you're out of your body, doing what we do, and
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. We just did a. Let me think here. So it was like Morgan and I, two friends. She facilitated us going to the new grid. It was a totally different experience. I talked about it a little bit on a previous
Yeah.
show, but point being, there was like coming through her, or I can't remember exactly how it went down, but the information being that we're very busy. And at the time, everybody was sleeping. Like for a week,
Yeah.
everybody we talked to is like, "I'm on my back. I'm on my back. I'm on my back," all
Mm.
day long. And it was like we were over there building the New Earth grid,
Yeah.
and then okay, so that's that part of it, whether it's that situation or not. But when we're out of our body, and then the other one is the physical ramifications of the energy on the physical body when you're conscious.
Yeah.
So like there's things that I don't do now that I used to. There's no
Yeah.
way in hell I could do them now.
Yeah.
There's no way. I would be. I don't need. I couldn't function.
Yeah.
There's just no way. I mean, it's so obvious to me that there's something occurring not only with our energy but with our bodies.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible, really.
I think so. I think there's a greater awareness as well of, we've come from, if there's something wrong with your body, it must be a physical thing. So it's either got to be like your diet's lacking, or you're not exercising enough, or you're exercising too much, or you've caught a bug. Whereas I think we're becoming more conscious and aware that our bodies do not just operate like that. Like they're subject to many, many, many different things. Stress being a massive one in our society.
Oh yes, yes.
Mm.
That Morgan just reminded me. I saw a comment up here a minute ago.
Yeah.
Oh, because I just remembered. Gail Barnett. That's how we all
Yeah.
connected, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Gail Barnett and our friend Monique Hendry and
Okay.
Morgan and I. We went into the grid, which we'd done before. I don't
Yeah.
think we'd ever done it with four people, but man, it was mind blowing.
Amazing.
It was like inner Earth, meeting
Yeah.
our inner Earth aspects. I mean, it is four people having the same
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
at the same time,
Yes.
which was
Massive.
huge. I mean, it
Yeah.
was just like whoa. Um, yeah,
Highlights our potential, doesn't it, though? If we can co-create relationships, then we can co-create broader relationships, and we can co-create planetary vibrations. Our potential is infinite.
yeah,
The only thing stopping it are ourselves and our whatever is stopping it within us. I
right
guess
on.
faith is one thing.
So tell me now, do you channel or anything? I'm not that it
I
doesn't
have in the
matter.
past.
What's that?
I have in the past. I
You have?
still do. I get downloads. I had one at Circle on Friday night for the first time ever. Became very vague as I was holding space for people and facilitating, and massive download of information came in.
Okay.
And it all around the 5D consciousness of love and shifting, which seems to be the common theme, that we get to create our ways and our paths and our relationships, and we need to let go of all of those old labels that we've used.
Yeah.
They no longer serve.
It's weird because I keep going back to this same thing the last couple of weeks. It's like, like you go da 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 da. You're in the head, you're like da
Yeah.
da da da, figuring this shit out, right? And then it gets right, and it's like you get to the end, and it's like there's nothing to worry about.
No,
Like I just
exactly
went through all this to get back to the same place,
that you
but
were beforehand.
but yeah, but like I was going to ask you, so you just kind of like hit both questions I was going to ask you, because one of them was like, what do you do at the moon ceremonies? And then I just had this, how that works, and we have to give that credibility.
Yeah.
These things don't pop in our head, especially when you're interacting with somebody, because somehow or another they're connected.
Yes.
But like I don't know, like I was just like, okay, I'm going to ask her, what do you do with those things? So you were actually when you do those are kind of, I guess, like a ritual, and then so you're into it this time, and you start getting a download. That was the first time that ever happened to you.
In Circle, that was the first time
That's
that has
what I
happened.
meant. Yeah, that's
Usually,
what I meant.
usually that happened. I get downloads all of the time. Every time I work with someone, I'm channeling something that's not of myself.
Right.
And I'm very conscious, but it is of myself at the same time. So it used to be my guides. I had a strong guide team, and they were very present. They have since, they're still present, but I'm getting my information from elsewhere now. And it's an interesting one. It's coming from source, but I am source,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm also not source. So I know it's coming from something other, but I also know it's coming from within. And I have no other words to be able to describe that. It is the
Yeah.
most bizarre sensation. Just this sense of knowing, but also knowing that it's not everybody's truth, and that's okay. And I'm only here to share my truth.
Yeah.
And if that serves, that serves. And my truth is not my truth. It's a collective truth, but it's not everybody's collective truth. And this is where the earthly languages are limiting,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
we're
that's
dealing
true.
with concepts that are so abstract now that
Yeah.
our language doesn't have the capacity to
True.
express the truth. So I guess we rely there on more of our emotion and our feeling and that sense of connection. When people speak, you go, oh, that resonates with me.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, rather than, oh, I agree with that. No, it just resonates. We understand it's a different vibration.
Yeah. We think of, and I do, I'll be the first to admit it, but, like teleporting is,
Mm,
super power, remote view, superpower, traveling astral, whatever,
yeah,
superpowers, telekinesis, whatever.
yeah,
But the emotions of the human species are a superpower.
yeah.
They really are. I mean,
I
they
think,
actually are what would you call it? Like if you looked at it from like a computer programming, like the devices of this crazy duality, like
yeah,
the things that you like the sub programs within, like the vehicle that you're the avatar that you're in, like, and there's so much power in
yeah,
bringing balance to emotions, not just to have a stable ride with ease and grace, but there's a lot of code and information, and maybe that's what's happening to us that you're describing, where
yeah.
it's coming from out here, but it's also coming from here,
Mm.
almost like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And it's, yeah.
When I work with clients or people, um, I can become very intense in terms of I become very focused on that person, and there could be 500 people around us, but I will focus in on that person,
Mm,
and I will be pushing that person relentlessly deeper into their emotions, into owning them and
mm,
being able to express them and understanding the patterning behind them. And I dislike doing this because it really upsets people. And it's almost become, in some circles, a little bit of a parlor trick, but it's not intended that way. But for me, I've always gone very deep into my emotions to work out why they exist and where they've come from, and what they mean in terms of my behavior, and then changing that, which is
mm,
why I'm permanently exhausted. But um, other people who have watched it say it's beautiful to watch so long as it's not happening to them,
mm-hmm,
because they can see the shell of the person breaking
mm-hmm,
and losing all of the attachment to what we have in this dimension to be able to go beyond. And so one friend of mine says she likes watching it because she knows that person's life will not be the same again. And I think that we're all here to support each other's growth in whichever way, whichever tools we have to be able to do that.
yeah,
We're here to empower ourselves as well as one another.
yeah.
And
No, that rings true to me.
that's channeled. When I do that, that's channeled. It's not, again, it's not from me. It's not from, it just is.
Yeah. And the thing about the support thing too,
Yeah.
it's just not happening the way we could have thought, because there's no way.
No.
I'm talking about the alterations to our human interactions,
Mm.
which covers everything, right? To
Yeah.
our interaction with, like, the way we process. Everything's changed, but I think that support thing's a big deal, because as we were talking about earlier in the show, there seems to be more of a, let's just say, a balanced empathy. Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, if I'm talking to you
Yep.
and we just have, whatever we have, right? And I come and we hook whatever, and I say, I'm pissed off.
Mm.
Well, in the where we're coming from, that immediately creates blame,
Yeah.
shame, further self-consciousness, and the whole mind game, But I think now what's happening is you're starting to have a holding space type of thing,
Mm.
less judgment. Like
Yeah.
instead of, if somebody says, I'm angry, then we're starting to have the wherewithal to
Yeah.
say, to not go, oh, it must be me, or it must be you,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you, and just say, oh, okay,
Well, let's unpack that. What's made
yeah,
you angry?
yeah, or
Talk to
just,
me about how that feels in the body.
yeah, yes, or are you
Yeah.
feeling it? What does it
Yeah.
feel like? And just, yeah, we talked about this on the previous show. I think you
Yeah.
watched it, but
Yeah.
just the accepting and the allowing. It's part of me. That's the
Yes.
point. It's part of me.
And it's
It does
okay.
right, and it doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make me a bad person. Doesn't make Bill Gates a bad person. Doesn't make
Mm.
whatever. It's just, and I think that's like, to me, like, I don't know, a new blush, right,
Mm.
of this trip, which is a new or expanded way,
Yeah.
an expanded aspect of awareness, therefore an expanded aspect of presence. And it's so
Yes.
crazy because these things that seem so mundane and so human, right,
Mm.
that seem like so would be so easy to do,
Yeah.
okay, like to listen or to seek to understand versus trying to be understood,
Yeah.
these little things. And then when we, especially if we do it together, when we bring equilibrium to them, these very human things, and remove, like, say, a pattern or a habit, then all of a sudden this woo woo stuff starts blowing up, right?
It
Or the
does.
coincidences or the synchronicities or what we call luck, or,
Yeah.
there seems to be a direct relation between the human grunt work and the gifts, right?
Very much. Well, very much so. Because things, when I think when we're more integrous to our core self, whatever that looks like, we're allowing flow to happen. And that's the energy of creation and manifestation,
Yeah.
is that trust, and that in that higher vibration of the lack of judgment, and that need or desire to understand and to see beyond what we've always been offered in
Hmm.
terms of relationships or work or anything. And I think the energies at the moment and the vibration that we're in allows us to create new ways and to explore new ways of being at
Yeah.
every level of our existence.
Do those kids trust that you teach? Do you? I mean, just, I know you may not know,
I can
but I
only
mean,
speak. I think that they're discerning. They know who to trust.
mm,
They know who they can trust for the most part. If they haven't come from trauma, I think trauma skews that for all of us.
of course, yeah, of course. I
Yeah,
mean,
and there's so much trauma that I think, yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of heavy hitters in these
mm,
communities. Most of them women,
yeah,
and most of them having deep traumas,
yes,
that they've dealt with and
or are dealing with.
yeah, or, well, yeah, I should say that.
Mm,
That's a very true statement. But an ascending level, on a graduating level, right? I mean, in other words, it was the way they designed it in order to pull the gold and bring out the sacred wisdom, bring out the gold,
yes,
whatever. Yeah, but
and to bring out that deeper connection with one another.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's through our pain that we truly connect, isn't it? Because we find
yeah,
that it's not often talked about. So when we hear someone speak about their pain or their hardship,
mm,
we empathize on a deeper level because at some point we've all experienced or felt something similar.
yeah,
So it's that point of contact where there is no arrogance.
yeah. Yeah, it brings a couple things to mind. Like I saw this a while back. This father, so his son was probably like a teenager, had gotten shot
Oh,
by this other kid. The
yeah,
father, the father of the kid that died, came to the court
yeah.
and went to the stand and asked to hug this kid.
Oh, beautiful.
I know, it was like
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, like at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like crying my eyes out.
yeah,
And he said, "I want to tell you I forgive you, and I want to ask the judge not to, give you death penalty or life, or
yeah,
give you a chance to come back, right?"
yeah. To
The
create something beautiful from that
Yeah,
dark.
it's like,
Yeah,
what the hell, right? Like, that's
yeah.
crazy. Like, that's
That's
just,
powerful.
you can't fake something like that. And then there
No.
was this lady that was on last year, this sister
Yeah,
from Australia, who had just started working with sex
yeah,
trafficking victims.
yeah,
And I asked her, I said, I mean, this is like some serious, like that's some deep stuff.
yeah,
Like she was telling about a lady who had escaped after
yeah,
like 8 years, and then they got her and they took her back and had to
yeah,
escape again, right? And so I said, wow, like, well, what kind of work do you do? I mean, like, obviously it was some kind of energy work or therapy. And I said, well, what are these people like? And she said,
mm,
they're masters.
yeah,
And then she started to talk about this particular lady and how she was the epitome of unconditional love, no bullshit.
yeah,
Like, I'm thinking, whoa. I mean, that's a heavy hitter, right?
yeah,
I mean, and how many of those are in this world that are doing the work and nobody
yeah,
knows it? And think of the power that
yeah.
that's infusing into the grid, right?
Absolutely. And to the people around them who get to be in their space or
Yeah,
share conversations with them or share anything, because everything we do ripples out
yeah,
and it impacts others consciously or unconsciously. And it's powerful. I think for me in my life, it I find that it is so important for people to do their healing work. I feel like it's also always almost a collective responsibility, that it is through us. And I know I don't have the right to dictate that for everybody else, but for me it's the foundation of my life. Everything that I do, even my teaching work, is all about people accepting who they are, loving who they are, and being empowered to be their best selves, whatever that looks like.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's where we serve each other, because that's unconditional love, to allow people the space to be who they are,
yeah.
which contradicts what I just said about people having the responsibility to do their own healing work. But,
No,
you know,
well, this is all about
limitations of
yeah,
language.
yeah. Well, because when you come across something real like
Mm,
that, which is often the parts that we don't want to talk about.
yeah,
You know what I mean? For not just because it does. I'm not saying it's not just because it might make us uncomfortable. Because I mean, I
mm,
think a lot of people that have done the work don't really have a problem
no,
talking about it. But I think there's something there where we want to get on to something else.
yeah,
Like, it's old news to us, but I think we underestimate the power and the inspiration
yeah,
that others get from it. Just
yeah,
like the story I told you about the guy that went to court. I mean,
yeah,
that to see something like that
that's massive.
is an activation, download,
Yeah,
whatever. I mean, that's like, you don't even have to know. You just look at
no,
it and boom, you're going to be you're going to be expanded, and you're going to
absolutely.
find a higher level. You're going to heal, whatever term you want to use. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You're going to be softer in your approach to other situations in your life where you are called upon to make a decision in terms of how you respond to a situation. You
yeah,
remember that and you go, well, hang on a minute. Maybe I can
yeah,
be different here. I can change the path here.
yeah. And also, because, and I'm just reflecting on some things. I'm not going to speak about them, but it's like with my kids. I touched my daughters the other day,
Yeah.
and they had some things to say. One of them, because I was talking to one of them, but they had met, and anyway, she was telling me, and in regard to me, right? And I realized in that moment, wow, okay, so they
Yeah.
saw the whole thing, and they were there through thick and thin. right?
Yeah.
Homeless, the whole thing. And and I said, wow, okay, so that's cool. Like
Yeah.
they got some inspiration, and that's legit. I can
Yeah.
feel it. And then the next thing came in immediately. Thank my higher self, soul, whatever, was like, well, you're only as good as you are right now.
Mm.
So in other words, take it, put it in the
Yeah.
data bank, and
Yeah.
proceed on uncharged. Because a lot
Yeah.
of times we can get charged by the good things, just like we can get
Yes.
charged by the bad things, and at the end result's the same thing, right?
Yeah,
So
it is.
yeah, so
It
it's
is. But I think those children-parent relationships are really, really important. I don't have my own kids, but I've watched it in a lot of my closest friends. Their ability, because I know them as adults and as humans, whereas their kids know them as parents, and that relationship and what we learn, especially as kids age and become of an age where they can process and feel safe to share and their perceptions of their parents and the rest of it, and then work through things. I think it's so powerful,
yeah, yeah,
especially as a model for how we operate in the rest of society.
yeah,
And
yeah,
they do confront ego, kids do a lot.
yeah, man. That's a
Yeah.
well, it looks so crazy to us. Their whole field of experience. If you
Yeah.
look at the TikToks, you look at but it's only because it's not close. It's nothing we can relate to because
Mm.
it's not close to what we experienced. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
crazy to think that 15, 20 years ago, there was a lot of kids playing outside. I mean, I know video games had already made their impact, but certainly my age group,
Yeah.
our computer was the backyard in the neighborhood,
Yeah.
right?
Likewise.
It's a total like, talk
And you
about,
were relatively safe outside, or the perception was, you weren't necessarily, but the perception was that you were safe outside, whereas now we've got this fear around
yeah,
even leaving
yeah,
our houses. We lock our doors, we lock our cars.
yeah.
When I was growing up, you didn't.
Yeah, I refuse to lock the doors here at the house. I
Oh, good work.
refuse to do. Yeah, I will. I feel like it's everything we do is making a statement. I
Yeah, it
guess
is. And
So I
it's
mean,
creating energy. You're quite correct.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
You're right, and it's in those simple things that we do have control over. We perceive that we're so controlled, but are we really? And if we perceive we're controlled by others, is it really others or is it us? Because we have choices in every second of our day,
hmm,
don't we? To be who we want to be and to live the life we want to live and to invite that in.
that's right. And I'm thinking green curry with shrimp over. Yeah. I'm going to the Asian market. I haven't eaten all day.
Oh,
God,
lovely.
I felt like I was gonna vomit when we got on.
Yeah, I was going to ask how your queasiness is.
It's
Has it
good. Well,
settled?
talking to an Australian with a bunch of my friends and
Bundaberg.
drinking the Bundaberg, I feel a little better now. I think
Okay.
it's well, that's the thing too. Like, your body immediately starts telling
Mm.
you
Yeah, it does.
that something like, so maybe it's a sugar thing. I don't know,
Mm.
but
But
something
your
was
throat
telling.
chakra also went for a little while there as well. You were
Nah,
expressing some blocks there. What's going
ah,
on? Let's go
ah,
deeper, Todd. What's going on?
with me?
Yeah.
No, I'm
No.
no.
Incorrect.
Oh shit! What are
You've
you
got your
talking about?
throat chakra and queasiness in the belly. There's something going on there. I
Well,
won't
no, no, no. It's no. I love just jumping into. No, I actually went through. So I think it was so. Morgan facilitated a Helioscomus workshop,
Yep.
and that was the 20th in Australia. So I believe the 17th or 18th was a full moon.
Yep.
So just an organic way, we came together, and I had this. I mean, let me see if I got this right because I'm starting to lose it. Oh, so we
Oh,
had this
interesting.
because every night when we would meet or when we were together, we would put our hands
Yep.
together and we go to bed and we connect.
Yep.
So I just, in the flow of things, I was just like, hey, I'm going to go to bed when you go to bed at night. And, which is like whatever, 5 in the morning for me or
Yep.
whatever. And so what happened was we actually, and that's what I had in mind. And then she wrote back and says, oh, well, maybe we could put our hands, and do what we do. And that's what I was thinking. So I knew sync, right? So anyway, that night we had a hell of a communion. she channeled some incredible information, which I'm actually putting in writing now. And then there was also the we're talking light bodies, we're talking souls, and the intimacy, the sacred sexuality. We're not talking cyber. Nothing was said. It was all felt.
Yeah.
So anyway, that happened. Then we had the going into the grid.
Yeah.
I think the next day or whatever with Monique and Gail.
Yeah.
And then we had the thing on the 20th, which was crazy because we've got, I think there was about 50 people there, and there was maybe 6 men, right?
Yeah.
And so we get to this part where she's taking us through the merging, and let's do an example. So let's get Todd and so, right?
Yeah.
So then it becomes, and it's a guy, and then it's another guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, at first it was a guy and a girl, and the girl checks in with her higher self. No, I'm not supposed to go there. Another girl checks in. I'm not supposed to go there.
Yeah.
So long story short, ends up being me and 2 other guys, and then one of the guys says, "I got a feeling there's supposed to be 4 of us." And again, this is a group experience that people are connecting the dots, even though nothing's being said, right?
Yeah.
So then what happened was it ends up being another guy. So there's 4 guys, and we go into the grid together, and it was multiple meaning, multiple purposes. It wasn't just about Helios Gamos. It was about going to the grid. Why are 4 men out of these 50 people, which are 45 are women? There was a lot of stuff. So what I'm saying is, and in that session, in that workshop, I had in that part of the workshop, huge stuff going on in my higher heart and my throat. My throat was the big deal. So I think it's probably integration. Integration felt huge yesterday, and I just try to stay busy. And today I'm going to do the same thing. Just try to stay busy.
Why are you going to stay busy? Why are you going to try and stay busy? Why do you feel the need to do that?
Well, it's not so much in need. It's now. Don't get me wrong. If the call comes and the droning starts, and you know what I mean. I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I know. I'm horizontal.
Okay.
But I've been chasing this new creativity, which to me is like the masculine. I'm not saying I'm done. I'm not saying I'm done at all. I'm ing on everything.
We never are. We always get slapped up the side of the head.
As the distorted parts of my masculine started to get their head handed to them, then I knew that there was going to be this. I just knew that pure warrior power, pure masculine power that got kind of like suppressed or was in the minority of that distorted. Okay, would be coming back. And so in the last 10 days or so, that's why I asked you about creativity, and I asked other people, because what's happening is this creativity is coming out, and I can only explain it as the masculine side of me is going, okay, in organic fashion, we're going to get some shit done, right? But there's no rush, and there's no pressure, and there's no force. And then the feminine side is this, like, and I think that's what this is, right? I think that's what this is, which is just a symbol, but it's like, okay, can you have the courage or whatever to get past the fears and do and express these inspirational themes, because that's what I see art as. Art is an expression of my relationship, or my inspiration from my relationship with the universe. Boom. Right? Can you do it? And so that's kind of why.
So talk through that, because you're self-aware enough and aware collectively enough to know that fear is just a choice.
Yeah.
And so you know that you can do that. So
Yeah.
what's the real thing underpinning that? Because you
I'm,
know that you're self-aware enough. There's a choice
oh
there.
no,
So
I'll do it.
yeah.
It's not a problem. Yeah.
Mm,
And I'd have to get specific about what I see coming. And that's the other thing, I can see it, but it's
mm,
not like the old days. It's not like when
yeah,
Todd was a senior executive and you plan out the year and you budget the year and you
yeah,
forecast sales and you forecast installations. And it's not like that. It's like a ball of energy in front of you
yeah,
that you can't see on the other side of, because if you do, you don't have the ball of energy. You just kind of. So what I do is I just do it. I get, for me, I put some music on, I write some
yeah,
words, I I play, just play and
yeah,
explore, and I find that's I guess it's just a way of getting in touch with yourself. I used to
yeah,
do it with I used to do it with sports.
yeah,
I used to fill my soul with sports. I used to fill it with playing the guitar. Then I used to fill it with dancing.
yeah,
And poetry's always been that way, or writing, sometimes
yeah,
speaking. Sometimes this does it for me.
yeah,
Like I told Morgan when we were going through last week, which
yeah,
was like, 2022 Hell Week, between
yeah,
the 12th and the 22nd, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
and I said, man, yeah, I'd rather schedule 2 or 3 shows than sit on my ass, because at the end of the day, I'm going to get to the same place. You know what I mean?
You'll
I,
also get to the same place by not scheduling 2 or 3 shows.
yes, true. That's right.
Mm.
You get
'Cause
you
you
get three.
can
I would rather do this than not. And
mhm.
and I don't know which one's better, right? You know what I mean?
There's no better, is there, though, really? There's not one that's better, it's just different.
Yeah.
And it's
I
that
just yeah.
acceptance of
There's
getting
something about movement, I think, is
mm,
what I would say.
okay.
Now, you can't move when you're on the couch, and there are times I can't do it.
Yeah.
I just have to lay
Yeah, you
down,
need to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's usually like everything, like no TV, no
Yes.
phone,
Complete
you know.
shutdown. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't like have, you know,
Yeah. So
so
where's the queasiness in your belly now?
I don't have it.
It's gone? Good. And what
Yeah.
about your throat? Does that feel less congested?
Yeah, my throat's fine. But did it sound congested? Did it sound congested?
You're very good at deflecting with
That's what
words.
I just saw Morgan's comment. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
deflecting. I,
Oh, did she
I,
what did
I
she say? You are very I
she
can't see without my
said you
glasses.
have to be extra tricky.
Yeah,
I don't.
you
I honestly don't know. I don't know if my throat is. You know what I mean? I don't know.
do. Okay.
I don't know. I have noticed this, and I didn't
Yeah.
really want to get into this, but
Oh, well, here we go.
so no, it's just it's nothing miraculous. It's not.
No, nothing
So
ever
I
is.
have this thing where I started writing. I started doing if you go to YouTube, they're like Soul Speak music videos,
Okay.
but I call it Soul Speak, and it's not singing, it's not rapping.
Yeah.
And so there's a whole evolution of how this all happened. So for 3 years, I haven't really done a lot. I write a piece here, write a piece there, maybe make a video here, make a video there. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been collaborating with my friend a little bit, and I've been doing it on my own a little bit. And the basis of it all is something happening here.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I put in the things and I can hear my voice. I turn the
Yeah.
music on, and I can't explain it. I can't explain it. The only thing I can do is explore it,
Yeah.
because I know that it has to be done.
Yeah.
I'm doing this. So my friend says to me, why don't we do it online, and you would just have like a rehearsal and
Yeah.
just improvise. Todd, the human, doesn't want to do it.
Oh.
But
Todd's now
Todd,
disassociating and speaking about himself in third person.
well, Todd doesn't want to do it, but my point is Todd's been around enough to know that I got to do it, because that's not going to go away. And there's something key about it. And I also think it's reflective of, like symbolically reflective of everything going on as individual goes to as a collective. So that opening the throat chakra,
Yeah.
and look at everything you just talked about. right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like what you were talking about with you and your friend. It's like
Yeah.
saying things and doing things and being yourself and so on. So I don't know. I mean, everybody's got their own yellow brick road and
Yeah.
things like that, and so that's what that's all about. That's what, and the reason I brought that up when you said that to me is because I can't explain it. There's not any words and there's not any directions. But what I do understand is there's something like when I'm doing it, like
Yeah.
I got a bunch of recordings here, and there'll be parts of it where I'm there.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's like a pursuit of um, even our own lives, like
Yeah.
hitting that point, and it's never going to be a straight line, but hitting it where, as people say, more ease and grace, right?
Yeah. And being present in the moment of all of that. So, in that moment of creation, in that moment of reflection, in that moment of stillness, being present in it and feeling into it, whatever that is. So, I've recently taken up chanting again. I go through phases. And when I need to feel grounded, so when I'm feeling overly overwhelmed, I will start chanting. And for me, I find that resonance in hearing my own voice and my voice vibrating through my body brings me back to core.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's what your music and
It's
recording
very
and stuff
it's very
does too.
similar. Yeah. When I get sick, I make noises, and I have since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, yeah, I
Your
will.
body knows how to
Right.
recalibrate
Yeah.
itself.
I mean, that wasn't a good example.
No, no, it's
But,
all right.
and see, here's the thing, like you talked about the fear, and this is just one person's example. I
Mm,
am absolutely, a lot of people think, I come on here all the time. I've done
mm.
3,000, I've been a part of like 5,000 videos with
Yeah,
Soulogy.
you've done heaps.
But 3,000 like this,
Mm.
and there's still self-consciousness.
Yeah,
There's still nervousness at times. There's obviously repetition brings mastery.
yeah,
They say if you take like a Marine and you give them a rifle,
yeah,
they become a master with 1,000 shots. So there's obviously something to be said for repetition. And even if you look at the journey of the soul, you got
mm,
incarnation, incarnation, incarnation. And the
yeah,
lesson doesn't go away until you learn it and all that. But there's this ultra self-consciousness,
yeah.
uh, and it's a big aspect. It's not like a boogeyman. It's just
Mm.
there.
It's present.
Yeah, and then there's this other part that's like, I don't know how else to put this. Okay, I don't want to sound crazy, but like a god,
Yep.
right? And so it's teaching me something that I cannot explain, but perhaps in my pursuit, I'll be able to exemplify it, right? You know what I
Yep.
mean? So I don't know. That's just my own personal thing. You want to get in my head, and there it goes.
Yeah, I do. And there's further to go into your head, I think.
Okay, you want
Because you're
to?
very good at deflecting with stories. So I think I'll invite myself on again.
Well,
And
do it
next
now.
time
Go ahead.
we'll get
Let's.
into your head.
Okay.
Because you also, because I
Jesus,
used to, huh?
huh?
I
Jesus,
used,
Jesus spoke in parables and allegories. No, I'm kidding. So
yeah,
I'll give you. Okay, let's just do
and
it. We'll
that's
do it.
perfectly
We'll give you. I'll
okay.
give you an answer, no story. You just say it, whatever.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm open
There
book.
you go. I'm listening to you.
No.
You,
You have to
you
ask
oh,
me.
so,
You have to.
okay. Talk to me about the third person disassociation because I do that all of the time. I know why I do that. So why do you do that?
I don't know. I've never thought about it, but I don't do it often. I know that.
No, but you
And
did it today and you did it whilst I was here. And I don't think there's a mistake in that.
no, there's not. I actually, I'm just gonna give you the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
I did it because I was trying to make the distinction of my human aspect versus
Okay.
my, yeah. That was
That's
basically,
partially why I do it too.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Next one, let's do this. I feel like I'm
Oh,
on.
you can't put me on the
I,
spot. That's not fair. Um,
okay, here we go. Plays takes two.
it does take two
Yeah, go ahead.
co-creating.
No, I'm
Um,
serious. Go ahead.
so why the use of stories?
I don't know. I really don't know. That's just
Is there a fear about getting into core and being judged? That self-consciousness you were talking about?
no.
No? No,
Honestly,
you're
no.
instant.
No,
No, that's
honestly,
right.
no. Actually, I'm just like a storyteller, and I
Yeah,
get a lot from uh that. Like I when I used to read a lot,
yeah,
that was like I'm into the story. I'm into the story.
Likewise.
Yeah, like the story I told you about the guy that went to court. You know, like that. Like if I view a story, then I can go say, this is what I learned.
Yeah.
I saw this connection to that, to that.
Yeah.
But so I'm very visual,
Yes.
and
But
and I
also
just
cerebral and words.
what's that?
So you see it, but then you process it intellectually and then you express it
Yes.
in words.
Yeah.
It's an interesting connection.
Yeah.
Or
You know,
system.
that's right.
Yeah.
This is not a story, but an example of what you said.
Yes. I like the way you feel conscious to qualify.
So from like summer of 2014, when I came out the street, right? 2013, till about, I don't know, maybe 2016.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but there were, let's say 75% of the time.
Yeah.
I would spend 2 to 4 hours, 2 to 5 hours watching YouTube videos
Yeah.
all across the board in
Yeah.
my bed. And then what would happen, I didn't realize it for a long time. Then what would happen is, and I'd also interact with people, talk to Morgan, right? Then I would wake up the next morning and start spitting it all out verbally in writing. So I did notice it then. I noticed it then because I had stopped reading books. And yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to hear your reflections on this in a couple of days, I think.
Well, disassociating helps with neutral observation of a highly charged event.
There we go.
Morgan's looking at
What's she saying?
Yeah, I don't know what she's saying. So, I think she's saying she can schedule you for the next one, the 23rd through the 27th.
Oh wow! Of March?
You know, I think that you want to be honest. I'll be honest with you. Okay,
Yeah,
this is one thing I could. This is one thing I could. This is one thing I did. This is one thing I did detect, and it may have been part of my answer, which you see as a reflection, as a deflection. And you could be right. You could be right.
I am right. I'm always right. That's where the arrogance is.
So I have this thing.
Yeah.
When people tell me things about me.
Yeah.
When I don't agree.
Yeah.
But I respect what they're saying and I want to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, because you got to remember, like in my sitting in this seat.
It as a mirror for me, actually, which sucks.
That?
I think you've just acted as a mirror for me, and I don't like that.
So, but you know what it is. Okay, I just had it because it was perfect.
Sorry.
So, and believe me, I'm not worried because it doesn't matter, right? So, I mean, we're good. But like, I've had so many people doing this show and being involved with Soulogy that have come to me telling me who I am, what I am, and what's going on with me, and what I like. Fuck off, right?
Yeah.
Because no, but I don't mean to say it like it got to the point where I was just like fuck off with it. But I do, like in your example with your friend, you didn't just throw it on your friend.
No.
So I do understand that if somebody takes a poke at me, and that's how I feels, right?
Yes.
That it's not about them. So it's kind of like I'm trying to find, like everything else, trying to find that middle ground, so.
And the balance there. Quite seriously, that has just served as a massive mirror for me because I sit and a lot of people question or attempt to question me the same way. Yeah. And because it's a bit of a novelty, I think. And I have the same response. I get quite defensive. You didn't get defensive. I get quite defensive, but then go away and process it and go, oh, that's what that highlighted for me, and learn from it. Because we're not, other people aren't responsible for our responses, only we are. And it shines a light for us. Even if it's just to say, no, that's not my story and I'm choosing not to accept that now because it's not mine. And it's all right to even do that.
Other people, say it again. Other people, what?
Other people, we're not responsible for.
Yes.
other people's comments to us, but we are responsible for our responses.
Yes.
Even if it is just for us to,
Right.
like a checks and balance thing. And so they say something, we're triggered by it. It might not necessarily be because they're right. It might be so that we can own our growth and say that is no longer me, that once was, potentially.
Okay, so you completed that sentence, and there's no mistakes. 1 hour, 44 minutes, 44 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so and 77 people were in the house at that moment,
Oh,
which was
wow.
14. Which is 14.
Yeah.
So, yeah. See, and that's what I meant. But that's what I meant by the fuck off thing. The fuck off thing was but that was my attitude.
Yeah.
Until I got taken to the mat.
Yeah.
And I had to not just say it, but actually attempt to embody it, because it wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to embody this. I had to walk the talk of it's never them, it's always me. Because if I feel, anything but, serene, that means there's something there for me. Yeah. And it may not be related to what they're saying. It might be related to the familiarity of the approach to me or whatever. But no, I absolutely do my best with that, and I'm a work in process,
Oh, we all are.
Yeah, but I have noticed like one thing with because I know you're highly sensitive. The ones that are highly sensitive, when they'll tell me something, what I have noticed is they're usually describing what I just went through.
Okay.
Right? Like, and I will tell you this, like, and I didn't think about this in your regard. I was just telling you that as a kind of a, but the throat chakra thing has been really big. It happened to me in that workshop. It's happened to me several times in a more extraordinary way than it, and it has happened a lot over the last 10 years, but it's happened a lot. Like I can feel something. I have no fucking idea what it is. I really don't know. I think it has something to do with music and composing and arranging or producing. I really don't know, but I know that I have to do it. And I know that I have to do it in front of people.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. Well, it's not, because I'm scared shitless.
Yeah, but that's the fear, and that's that you're right. That's what's coming out.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, so I sit in a lot of space in my own life thinking I need to do this, but I'm an introvert and I don't want to be in the public eye at all, ever, because I'd like to sit in my backyard in my garden and just be at peace and be zen every day. And I don't want to become the activist that I know that I am and that I have to be.
Right.
A lot of that sits around that fear of a whole heap of old patterning and narratives of I'm too big for my boots, what have I got to offer the world, all that sort of imposter bullshit. But also that fear of I don't want to do that. I just want to sit in my garden and be chill and listen to music and chant and drum and all that sort. That's what I want to do. But life has plans.
Yeah, I don't think we're here to. Now, I'm sure there's different roles, for people.
Yeah, mine isn't to sit in the garden.
We were talking about like these people, like these women. I mean, I know there's all over the world, and you never hear about them. They don't even want to be seen. But I do think that there's a lot of us here, and I think maybe more than a lot that in their own way, and I'm talking really more in the energetic field. Not so much literal, but that obviously follows to a degree. But I think we're meant to get out and about.
Yes.
Like if you listen to the story of an empath, it's I couldn't for years. I couldn't go anywhere. I can't be in rooms with full of people. I'm picking up all and then they come back, become a hermit. And Morgan likes to say, what used to be like a weakness is now a superpower. Yes. So now, like, that only makes sense to me. Like, why would you go, gain the context of that experience and the trauma of what that does to you? And I can't really relate like a lot of people, but you can, I'm sure. And then you go back, you become a hermit. Like, what's the point? You went to go see the world and expose yourself to all these multiple energies, and now you're going to live in a cave. No, I don't think so. I think you came in, you regroup, you find yourself, and now a lot of us, I believe, are meant to get out there and mix it up. because that's a huge thing, because that's like what I'm describing. It's the same
Yeah.
template. It's like you're going to do something, you don't really want to do it, but you know you got to do it.
That's
And
it.
my feeling is, if I don't do it here, it'll be the next one.
That's right. And it may as
So
well be done here.
yeah, I'd like to do it here.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah, that Mateus Stefano, those 2 episodes I watched last night. There was another part that really, and I haven't gone back and re-listened to it, but it really hit home. And I've been saying this for a while, not because I'm smart, just because of what I do. I recognized early on. I started doing videos really in earnest in September of 2015.
Yeah.
Go figure. 3 weeks after I met Morgan. You know what I
Wow.
mean? So
Yeah.
there was some type, but anyway, I started to notice, because I would do shows and people wouldn't have their face, or there would be different elements or frequencies that would not be in the expression. I
Yeah.
noticed it in my own work. I would do videos. I'm doing a spirit walk.
Yeah.
There might be traffic, there might be a forest, there might be crickets, or I started playing music and the type of music. And so I started to notice that the more frequencies that were added, the more potential that you had. And
Okay.
when I was watching his episodes, I think it's in the number 8, he was talking about that in some way. He was talking about that, the same thing that I was feeling and that I've
Yeah.
been trying to chase, right? He was talking about, and he specifically was talking about the voice,
Yeah.
right? Because if you think about the voice, it's not just what I'm saying. It's the tonality, it's the resonance,
Yeah.
it's the volume of the voice. There's so much there. It's almost like its own multiple or multi-dimensionality within the voice alone, right? Or the
Yeah.
sound that comes from, yeah. So yeah, it's cool
That's
talking
beautiful.
to you.
Yeah, I
You're
enjoy
cool.
talking to you as well. I was nervous as all buggery the first time, and this time I've been so looking forward to it and just thinking we're just sharing space. It's all it
Yeah.
is. And it's
Well,
beautiful. It's such a beautiful platform to do that with.
yeah, it's like, you see what I mean though? Like, I didn't feel like getting up here. I was
No.
talking to Morgan, mopping the floor, and and then all of a sudden, as I came in here, I was like, wow, what do I feel? So I grabbed, the bunny bird, and
The good Aussie stuff. You just need some
yeah,
you'll be
huh?
set. You
Need
need some
what?
Vegemite and you'll be set.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Just a slight sprinkling or
No, I've had it.
something
I've
to
had
toast.
Vegemite. What's the other one?
Nutella?
So, oh my God,
No?
that's even. No, I had
Not
Vegemite
like
with.
yeah.
I actually liked it. Okay, like she probably gave me, like, I don't know, 10 different bites with different ways,
Yeah.
like with
Yeah.
have it on a cracker with cheese,
Yeah.
but like, first of all, I can't eat it by itself.
No.
I think she, I think
I think
she,
I could.
yeah, I think she gave it to me one time, and it was cheese on a crack. It was
Yeah.
cheese on a cracker with Vegemite and something sweet. Like,
Yummy.
oh my God, that shit was good. Right? Like, that
Mm.
was good. Yeah. But yeah, I can't, I'll stick with this right here. And the occasional Fosters. I can do
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Fosters.
God. That's such gross beer.
You don't like it?
No, I don't drink beer. Don't like it at all.
I don't drink too much
Foster's
anymore, admit.
is not good
But
at all.
I like Fosters on draft.
Yeah.
I don't know another Australian beer though. I
I
can't
don't
think
either
of,
because I don't
I can't
drink
think
it.
of one. Yeah.
There's 4X, I think, and there's Tasmanian Cascade or something like that.
I don't know. When I get over there, and I will, I
You'll have to
promise you.
try.
I promise you. I swear on my children.
It'll happen. Well, you're manifesting. Today's the day of manifestation here, so you're doing good.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you.
I
And I
appreciate
enjoy
you.
you. And evidently, I think I saw a comment up here. You're now Morgan's girl crush, and
Oh,
it looks like, oh yeah, oh my girls. It says,
really
what
can't
did she
see
say?
without my glasses.
It said something about scheduling you the 23rd, 24th,
Okay.
25th, 26th, 28th. Here's another good comment though,
You see?
from our friend Hung Nguyen.
Oh, yes.
It's such a weird knee-jerk reaction in this community to offer unsolicited awareness to people. I still don't understand it. I'm totally in the fuck off camp. That's her. Have you ever seen her on? She's hilarious.
No, I
Oh
have to
my
go and look her
God,
up.
she's a nut.
Is
Okay,
she?
yeah,
But
very
the
very.
right sort of nut.
Oh yeah, yeah, no,
Mm,
very intuitive.
yeah,
Very, yeah, very, yeah. She's very part
I
of our
have to go
soul
back and
family. Yeah,
look. Yeah,
yeah.
that's beautiful.
She's been on a number of times. She's actually hosted quite a bit too. All right. Well,
Oh, I think I have.
yeah,
I have.
yeah,
If she's hosted, I have seen her.
yeah. She
Yes.
hosted Dr. Joe last time. She hosted a
Okay.
lady. Where's that lady from? I think the lady might have been from Australia. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, she's trippy. She's fun.
Yeah.
Dragon lady. But yeah, I'm gonna run to the Asian store and get me
Yeah.
some Asian vegetables so I can juice tomorrow and
Enjoy. I'm
keep
going for a
myself.
facial.
Are you really? I thought, you know what? Now that you bring that up, see, there's no mistakes, right?
No.
So in the Asian market, because
Yeah.
it's an Asian market, like I
Yeah.
mean, and they have, as you check out, they have these masks
Oh, yes.
that you put on your face,
Yeah.
and I'll stand there and I'll be checking out, going, I wonder if I should get one of those masks.
Yeah.
I'm
Now
afraid.
that's a sign that you're meant to.
No, I don't know. I'm afraid I probably come. I mean, I've had like red splotches all over me and come on.
You keep saying that. So you're obviously purging some stuff
I have been, yeah,
and
yeah,
releasing a lot.
yeah. Well, you know what? What has happens is it's right here in my third eye. So
Yeah.
even going back like 6, 7 years ago, that would happen. So I
Yeah.
always
So
knew that
releasing
there was,
emotion.
but yeah. Normally it's like last week was a big week. I mean, there
Yeah,
was
it
like
was.
day after day after day
Yeah.
was like it was just like
Yeah.
I
Massive.
wrote a piece last week. It took me like 2 days, and it starts out like you know, what is it? The next one begins before this one ends,
Mm,
right? Like that's what it felt like to me. It was,
yeah.
yeah,
It's a lot of change. I agree.
yeah. All right.
Right, you go to the Asian market. Have a beautiful day. What's
Yeah,
left
you
of.
too. I appreciate it. I
Beautiful.
enjoyed it. Thank you for helping
Likewise.
me.
Thank you.
All right, you
Thank
take
you for
care.
what? Helping.
Yeah, you help me. You help me.
You're
All right.
likewise. Thank you so much for this.